Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the New Forest. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're going to be doing something slightly different. We're going to see if we can follow the entire route of the Highland Water, which is a stream that goes through the New Forest. Why? Well, during our series of walks in the New Forest, we've probably done about 8 or 9 walks where at some stage we've come across the Highland Water. So I thought, well, why not see if we can walk along the entire stretch of it? Now, I'm not 100% sure whether it can be done or how easy it is, so we've got a little bit of an adventure ahead of us. The Highland Water itself is about 6 miles long and it runs from the Ocknell Plain to the south until it joins up with a couple of other streams, Fletcher's Water and Ober Water, at Bolderford Bridge, which is just northwest of Brockenhurst. And from then on it becomes the Lymington River and continues to the coast where it flows out to the sea at Lymington. So our mission is quite simple really, to walk basically from Ocknell Plain down to Bolderford Bridge. Let's see how we get on. Now I'm filming in the middle of the summer. It is a glorious sunny day, a little bit of a breeze. I think it will be getting quite hot later on, but we've got plenty of water and a fair bit of the walk's going to be through shaded woodland anyway. Are we ready? Let's go. Well, obviously, as this is a linear walk, I've been dropped off at the start and hopefully I'm going to get picked up at the finish. So the starting point, where is it? Well, I'm located at Stony Cross, which is just to the northwest of Lyndhurst, just north of the A31. Now, if you look at a map of the area, there's probably 3 or 4 sources that you could choose from, but there are 2 main ones, and I'm going to use the one that's to the west, right on the edge of where the old RAF Stony Cross airfield from the Second World War used to be. And there it is in front of me, and like many sources of rivers, it doesn't look too exciting, does it? And it is very, very dry at the moment. I'm filming in the middle of the summer and we've had one of the hottest summers on record and we're in the middle of a mini drought. So basically, as you can see, it's a pipe that comes out the ground, and if I just slightly turn around, we're at the edge of a ridge off Stony Cross. We're quite high up. In fact, the highest point of the New Forest is about a mile away at Piper's Weight. In fact, I'm surprised to see a little bit of water actually trickling out. So this is now looking south, and the first part of our walk is going to be heading towards those woods down there, and you can see where the stream meanders its way down, or would do if it had water flowing. I guess this is probably a good time of year to be doing this, because with a bit of luck it's not going to be too muddy. Just on our first tiny little bit of the stream, and as you can see behind me, still very much bone dry this high up. Of course, the great thing about this walk is, well, hopefully it should be downhill all the way. Now we're just about to go into our first bit of woodland, the Ocknell Inclosure, which is one of my favourite bits of woodland in the New Forest. Quite big, it's about 99 hectares, and the trees, or many of the trees here, were planted in well, between 1768 and 1775, mainly oak and beech, although there were some trees before then. But when the enclosure was thrown open in 1815, in other words when the fences were taken off the boundary banks, the trees weren't harvested. They were left to their own accord, and they have been ever since. So it's quite an ancient and untouched bit of woodland. It really is quite lovely in there. just spotted something here. Obviously the stream's still dry, but you can see there are what looks like wooden posts or stakes that are driven into the stream, and at some stage they would have put bales of heather and secured them in the stream here, just to sort of slow the flow of the water up a little bit, to prevent erosion. Still making our way through the Ocknell Inclosure. A little bit of evidence of water now in the stream, but even this high up in its course, you can see how steep the banks are, which just shows what a raging torrent this will eventually become in the middle of the winter. Haha, our first sort of bridge of the walk, with a track over the top, a couple of cylindrical pipes, and according to the map that means we must be about to go into a part of the wood called Bolderford Walk. Well, it really is quite glorious now. What a super little exploration through the Ocknell Inclosure. You certainly wouldn't be able to do this walk in the winter, but in the summer when it's dry, it's not so bad. Now, we've come to a little bit of a challenge. You can probably hear a busy road just by me. It's the A31, which is the dual carriageway, the main road through the forest. And the Highland Water actually goes underneath it through something called the Ocknell Arch. Now, I've had a look at it. I think Logan would be able to get through, but I don't think my knees would would take it. However, there is an underpass a few hundred yards to the west, and there's some interesting things to see there as well. So let's go and have a look. Ah yes, that's a much more civilised way of going underneath the A31. You can see the underpass here. It doubles up as a pony pound. Regular viewers will know. There's a few of these dotted around the forest, used well, primarily in the pony roundup, when they're getting all the ponies to check them out health-wise, and put on their reflective collars and take any that need taking off the forest. And they're also used at other times of the year as well. And then just before we go underneath the A31, just over on the right, you can just see over the top the large tree. That's one of the celebrity oaks of the forest, the spreading oak. We came across that in a previous walk. Wow, what a gorgeous view. Just on the other side of the A31, so this is looking to the south, and in a very far distance that's the Highland Water Inclosure, which is where we'll eventually be heading. And then well, we need to start heading eastwards again to pick up the Highland Water itself, and then head south. And I think, well, it's roughly where that tree line is where the Highland Water actually goes. Well, now after that little detour, we're now on the other side of the A31, and there's the other end of the Ocknell Arch, and our first sort of decent bit of water, although it doesn't last very long before it dries up. Okay, let's get away from this busy road. Just a little pit stop in this shaded part of the walk, and this gives you an idea of the terrain that we've been following for about a mile now. parts of the stream are dry, parts have got water in, but very much this windy, almost serpent-like nature to it. And starting to see a lot more dragonflies now, and birds coming down and drinking. Right folks, I don't know if you can see this, but this is my sophisticated map that's held together with bits of sellotape. So that was our starting point. We've made our way through the Ocknell Inclosure, Bolderford Walk. We then did a little detour to the underpass, then back Ocknell Arch, and we're currently just here. And if I just pan the camera upwards, at the top of that ridge there, that's Lucas's castle. There was never a castle there, never even a defensive structure, but it's just a place that was called Lucas Castle. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure up that neck of the woods is another one of the celebrity oaks, the Withy-bed oak. Well, another pit stop folks, just had to take this one in. This is looking back northwards, very much your typical New Forest heathland scene. A lot of bracken, not too much heather. Normally you'd start to see the heather coming out in bloom this time of year, but it hasn't quite been so prevalent. Certainly not so far, I guess because it's been so dry. A New Forest walk wouldn't be complete without some ponies. A little sweetie there with mum and auntie, I expect. Only a few weeks old, making use of the shade. A few flies bothering them, but best place to be on a hot day like today. I love your little white star on your forehead. And bridge number 2, and quite a substantial one as well. And this must mean that we're shortly going to be heading into the Highland Water Inclosure. Bridge number 3. Oh, it is so peaceful in here. I mean, it's just virtual silence. The odd bird twittering away, and that's about it. It's quite stunning. Now, is this bridge number 4? You can see it's these bridges are gradually becoming more substantial now, aren't they? As in fact the stream becomes wider, albeit still very dry, and a cycle track goes across it. So that must mean must be close to the Home Hill enclosure, and the stream must start going eastwards very shortly. I must say, I mean, we're loving every minute of this exploration, but it's been a lot tougher than I thought it would be so far, because we've been keeping strictly to the almost, you know, a few yards away from the stream. It's been quite undulating at times, and well, as I say, you wouldn't want to do it in the winter when it was boggy, but the bogs have dried up. They're quite rutty, but I'm not complaining. Ah yes, here we are. So I don't know if you can see this because it is quite dark in the shade here, but there's the boundary bank between the Highland Water enclosure and the Home Hill enclosure. And of course, in days gone by, when the enclosure was initially created, there would have been a wooden fence on top, and that would have been in place for about 30 odd years to keep livestock out and animals from eating the young trees. And then after 30 years, when the trees were big enough to look after themselves, the fencing would be taken down. our first sighting of a fish. You see it there, just on the surface, feeding the flies. I'll see if I can get a closer photo using the Canon, but well, definitely got that riverish feel to it now. Well, this little section through the Holm Hill enclosure is terrific because there's quite a good path along the bank, which makes it nice and easy for walking. But it's interesting, this stream, you know, from time to time I think, oh, it's now become a river, and then suddenly you get a dry bit, so it's definitely not flowing just yet. But I said, underneath this shade, it's perfect temperature, it really is. Now we're talking. Dog dip material now. A brilliant place to cool off. I might even join you, Logs. Oh, that looks very, very relaxing. Come on, we've got to find somewhere to have a spot of lunch, I think. Whew. Just stop for a little bit of a lunch. We're just by Bolderford Bridge. According to my map, which I'm not sure is going to last the entire trip, but certainly well over halfway. And here we go. Definitely time for a cheese and ham roll. And just take all this peace and quiet in. It really is quite splendid. This could well be the Bolderford Bridge, I'm not sure, but it's the main sort of road that crosses through this part of the forest, so the most substantial bridge to date. Well, I wonder what this could be. I've absolutely no idea. I mean, that looks, the brickwork looks very, very modern, doesn't it? Answers on a postcard, please. Well, we've made good progress since lunch, although the section we've been on has been a little bit harder. There wasn't a path as such, it was just animal tracks. So we're now just past the reptile centre, which is on my right, which has got that lovely white keeper's cottage, and just in front of me here is one of the most photographed bridges in the New Forest, the Roman Bridge. Now, spoiler alert, it's not Roman. A bridge was built here back in 1725 when it was on the route known as Cut Walk, when that was established. If you want to know more about that, check out our video walk on Emery Down. The bricks in the present bridge are actually more modern. No idea why it's called Roman, maybe because it's on a dead straight road? I don't know. That's bridge number, is it 12? Oh, I've lost count now. Anyway, that one takes you all the way up to Grittenham and Bank. A lovely walk there we did 18 months or so ago. If you haven't seen that one, do check that one out. Bridge number 13. I just cannot believe how dry it is as far downstream as this. I mean, it's bone dry here. It really is quite frightening. I know it's August next week, but even so, Struth. Whew, it's getting hot now. We're nearly at the end. Just gone over Bridge 14, I think. Now at this stage, the Highland Water, which is still bone dry, gets joined by the Fletcher Water, which comes in from the west. And that's bone dry as well today. And just over to my right is where the Queen Bower hunting lodge was. We're not going to look for it today. I did have a look for it on my Brockenhurst walk and found bits of it. So if you want to know more, then check that video out. I say the remains of it are through there. It was a medieval royal hunting lodge built, well, probably in the 14th century. Temporary accommodation for royalty and noblemen. It would have been wooden with slate roofs and had banks and ditches to keep out vagabonds. There were a number in the forest and we've explored quite a few of them. But this one, well, it was quite significant. Its sort of banking's about 55 metres long, sort of northwest to southeast, and 45 metres long northeast to southwest. So but say the exact purpose of these weren't really understood. I mean, they may well have just been used by forest keepers or officials. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. This is our final destination, Bolderford Bridge. And this is where the Ober Water joins up with the Highland Water. And from now on in, it's known as the Lymington River for the next 7 miles, and it eventually flows out into the sea at Lymington. We hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. We're off to the Snake Catcher pub in Brockenhurst for a quick half before we get picked up. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio. So you fancy another dip? Go on then.